Good morning, students. Uh, Today we are going to discuss the topic triggering methods of SCR, which is very interesting and important topic. So this is the subject of your power electronics. Now, before going on triggering methods of SCR, that in previous lectures we discussed about silicon controlled rectifier. So we have already done about its characteristics of SCR and the construction of SCR. So in this lecture, we will discuss that how SCR can be triggered. As you know, SCR is your unidirectional, and once it is turned on, then to turn off this SCR, you have to apply some circuits, which is called your commutation circuits. So commutation is the process by which you can turn off the SCR, and triggering is the process by which you can turn on the SCR. So in this lecture, we will discuss different methods by which you can turn on the SCR. So these are the content of this lecture. Introduction, different type of triggering, R triggering and RC triggering, which is very important. So in this lecture, the student will be able to understand different methods of triggering. And after this lecture, student will be able to understand that which triggering must be applied and what are the advantages and disadvantages of this different triggering of SCR. So let's start with your introduction. So you can see that everywhere today is your energy crisis. So this is necessary that the efficient utilization of your electrical energy. So by using the power electronic devices, it is helping to make the electrical energy efficient, and it is having a big role in you know to overcome your energy crisis problem. Now you can see that power electronic helps in accomplishing this task of different energy uses. So thyristor is playing a big role in power electronic system. So silicon controlled rectifier is an important device of thyristor family. So as the SCR is used more widely, hence SCR is known as thyristor, because it has a number of applications where we are using SCR, and it is the family member of thyristor. So you can call SCR as thyristor. Now, what are the applications and where we are using this thyristor and why this is so much important? So basically, it is a power electronic device or semiconductor device, and you know, basically, semiconductor devices are operated as a switch in different fields to make the system very effective or efficient. So one of the semiconductor device used in a power electronic system is your thyristor. Few of other devices which is we are also using, which is also your semiconductor devices, and we have already studied in detail these different type of semiconductor devices like your BJT, bipolar junction transistor, MOSFET, IGBT, gate turn-off thyristor. So these are the different applications. These are the different semiconductor components which can also be used, as a semiconductor devices to make the electrical system more efficient and good. So the term thyristor is a general name for a family of semiconductor device. So thyristor families consist of large number of switching devices. A thyristor is a solid state power semiconductor device. It has four alternating layers and three junctions, J1, J2, J3, and of N-type semiconductor and P-type semiconductor material. As you know that the thyristor is made by semiconductor materials, which is your impure materials. What we do in pure semiconductor materials, we add some impurities which which depends on that what kind of impurities you are adding in those semiconductor materials like germanium and silicon. So it make it your p-type semiconductor and n-type semiconductor. If there are number of electrons are more than your number of holes, then this is called your n-type semiconductor. If there is you know uh, more more holes as compared to your electrons, that is your called your p-type semiconductor materials. So this is the basic structure of SCR. You can see in the diagram that there are four layers, NP and NP, and there are three junctions, J1, J2, J3. This is your cathode terminal, this is your anode terminal, and this is your gate terminal. So thyristor is a four layer and three junction device. So thyristor has three terminals, namely anode, cathode, and gate. Thyristor acts as a bistable switch, conducts when its anode is made positive with respect to cathode and gate signal is applied. Without applied gate signal, thyristor will not be turned on. It may be in your forward biasing, but it will not turn on. So to make it your on condition, you have to apply some gate pulses, and the application of gate pulses is called your triggering. And by the methods which you apply gate pulse, that is called your different methods of your triggering. Now we come to the triggering methods. So triggering means turn on the SCR or thyristor. Turning on of a thyristor refers to your thyristor triggerings. And thyristor is turned on by increasing the anode current flowing through it. Because you are applying your gate pulse, it means you are injecting some electrons through the gate, by which your forward, you can see in the last diagram that when your anode is positive with respect to cathode, then junction J1, J3 will be in forward biasing, when you and the junction J2 will be in reverse biasing. So make this reverse bias into forward biasing. uh, you have to apply some electrons here, so it will break this layer, it will break this junction or depletion layer, and electrons will start to move from this direction to this direction, from cathode to anode, and holes will start to move from anode to cathode. So making this reverse bias into forward biasing, you have to apply some gate pulses, or you have to inject some electrons over here, so you can make it in your reverse forward biasing. This is your junction J2. So thyristor is turned on by increasing the anode current flowing through it. So the increase in anode current can be achieved by many ways. That is called your triggering methods. So the various SCR triggering methods are forward voltage triggering method, thermal or temperature triggering, radiation or light triggering, dV by dt triggering, and gate triggering. So these are the different methods by which you can turn on your SCR. Now let's come to the point, that is your forward voltage triggering. So what is your forward voltage triggering? So in this case, what you have to do, you, as the name is given, forward voltage triggering means that you have to apply some forward voltage across the thyristor terminals. Okay, and when the anode terminal is positive with respect to your cathode, so the junction J1 and J3 is in forward biasing, and junction J2 is in reverse biasing. So no current flows due to depletion region in J2 because it is in reverse biasing. So as anode to cathode is further increased as at a voltage VB naught, for this is called your forward break over voltage. So the junction J2 undergoes avalanche breakdown, and so a current flows and the device tends to turn on. Okay, So in this case, what you are doing, that you are increasing the voltage across your anode to cathode terminal. So this is your forward breakover voltage. When it further increase a particular voltage, then the junction J2 goes into the avalanche breakdown and current starts to flow, and your thyristor will come into the conduction mode. Next is your thermal triggering. As the name is indicate that thermal means temperature. So you are increasing the temperature of the SCR. So let's see what is the procedure to thermal triggering of SCR. So the width of depletion layer of SCR decreases with increase in junction temperature. So therefore in SCR, when VAR means it is your breakdown voltage. The device is triggered by increasing the junction temperature. So by increasing the junction temperature, the reverse bias junction collapse. So the device starts to conduct. But main disadvantage of this triggering, that if you increase the temperature at a particular level, then the SCR may be get damaged, and it can you know, it can damage, or it can destroy. So this triggering is hardly used for triggering the SCR. Now next is your radiation triggering or light triggering. So for light triggering SCRs, a special terminal is made inside the inner P layer instead of gate terminal. So when light is allowed to strike this terminal, free charge carriers are generated. So why we are generating free charges? The question is that why? What is the use of these free charges? Because of movement of these free charges, the SCR will come to into the conduction mode, and due to these free charges, the current will start to flow through the thyristor. That's why by the different procedure we are, you know, producing the free charges. It may be your temperature, it may be your voltage, or it may be your radiations. So in radiation triggering, you are taking a layer which is a P layer instead of K terminal. And when light is strike on in this terminal, and free charges carriers are generated. And when intensity of light becomes more than a normal value, the thyristor starts conducting. So this type of SCR are called LASCR. Okay. Next is your dy by dt triggering. When the device is forward biasing, J1 and J3 are in forward biasing, and J3 will be in your reverse biasing. So junction J2 behaves as a capacitor because there is a depletion layer, and it will behave like a capacitor. One plate of this capacitor will be positive, and one terminal will be of this capacitor will be negative. So junction J2 behaves as a capacitor due to the charge existing across the junction. If voltage across the device is V, the charge by Q and capacitor by C, then the capacitor current IC is equal to dq upon dt, and the charge is equal to CV, and the current through the capacitor is equal to d into CV upon dt. So C into dV upon dt plus V into dC upon dt. And so the capacitor voltage is equal to 0, and the capacitor current will be C into dV by dt. So this is your dV by dt triggering. So therefore, when the rate of change of voltage across the device become large, the device may turn on, even if the voltage across the device is small. So in this dV by dt, you are changing the rate of voltage according to your time. When rate of voltage will change, the device may be turned on. Next point is your gate triggering. So this is most widely used in SCR triggering method, uh, in which you are applying a positive voltage between gate and cathode. So you can easily turn on a forward biased thyristor, and this is the method which is widely used to triggering the SCR. When a positive voltage is applied at the gate terminal, the charge carriers are injected in the inner P layer, and thereby it is reducing the depletion layer thickness. So as the applied voltage increases, the carrier injection increases. Therefore, the voltage at which forward break over occurs decreases. So, uh, so the thyristor will turn on. So there are three types of signals are used for gate triggering. You can see this is the VI characteristic of diode. This is your threshold voltage. This is your forward current. This is your leakage current. It is your avalanche breakdown and reverse voltage. Now, next is your DC gate triggering. So, a DC voltage of proper polarity, or DC as the name indicate that at gate terminal you are applying your DC gate DC voltage. So, a DC voltage of proper polarity is applied between gate and cathode, and when applied voltage is sufficient to produce the required gate current, the device starts conducting. And one drawback of this scheme is that both power and control circuit are DC, so there is no isolation between these two. So the another disadvantage is that a continuous DC signal has to be applied, so gate power loss is high. So in this gate DC gate triggering, the gate power loss is high. Next is your AC gate triggering, which is very important, and this method is widely used. So as you know that AC gate triggering means that you are applying AC voltage to your gate terminal. So here AC source is used for your gate signals. So this scheme provides proper isolation between power and control circuit. That's why this method is widely used. But in DC gate triggering, you have seen that the isolation between two power and control circuit was not there. So it is not that much useful as AC gate triggering. So drawback of this scheme is that you need a separate transformer in AC triggering circuit, and you need your step down AC supply. Okay, so there are two methods of AC triggering. One is your resistance triggering, and another one is your RC triggering. So first we will discuss about your resistance triggering. These methods are very important, and most of the questions in exam is asked from these two triggerings. So these are very important triggering methods of SCR. So let's start with your resistance triggering. That in this method, the variable resistance R is used to control the gate current, and it has very simple circuit. You can see that this is your R triggering circuit, in which you can see that you are applying your AC voltage, which is your step down supply. This is your load. This is your SCR. You are using only one diode and one resistance over here. The arrow which is indicate that the resistance is your variable resistance. And this is your diode which is connecting to your gate terminal. So resistance and diode is connecting to the gate terminal. This is the anode terminal of your SCR, and this is your cathode terminal of SCR. So in this method, the variable resistance R is used to control the gate current, and it is depending upon the value of R. So when the see how you can control the gate current by using resistance, you can see that in the resistance is always oppose the flow of current. If you increase the resistance, the the value of current will be less. If you decrease the resistance, the value of current will be high. So that's why we are taking variable resistance over here, and by changing the value of this resistance you can easily control the current, and the current which is directly going to the gate terminal. So by variable resistance you can control the gate current of SCR. Now, this is, depending upon the value of R, when the magnitude of the gate current reaches the sufficient value, the SCR starts to conduct. So the diode D is called as blocking diode. It prevents the gate cathode junction from getting damaged in the negative half cycle. That's why we are using diode, because it is preventing the gate cathode junction from getting damaged in the negative half cycle. So by considering that the gate circuit is purely resistive, the gate current is in phase with the applied voltage. So by using this method, we can achieve maximum firing angle up to 90 degree. See, this is very important point, that the diode D is called your blocking diode. So it prevents the gate cathode junction from getting damaged in the negative half cycle, because it will conduct only for positive half cycle. You can see that, in this diagram, that when your load current is negative, it will not conduct. So it will protect the uh, SCR from damaging of your negative half cycle. Now, by considering that the gate circuit is purely resistive, the gate current is in phase with the applied voltage, and by using this method, we can achieve maximum firing angle, which is up to 90 degree. Next is your RC triggering, and you can see that the circuit which is given over here, that is your RC triggering circuit. And in this circuit, you are using AC source voltage, one thyristor, one diode, and one resistance, and one diode D2. So here you are using two diodes and one capacitor. One is your D1 diode, another one is your D2 diode, and capacitor is your C. And this is your variable resistance. Okay, and this is your AC source. So by using this method, we can achieve firing angle more than 90 degree. And in the positive half cycle, the capacitor is charged through the variable resistance R up to the peak value of the applied voltage, as it is clear from the diagram that the capacitor can be charged. Okay, so for positive half cycle, the capacitor will be charged through resistance R up to the peak value of the applied voltage, and the variable resistor R controls the charging time of the capacitor. If you are applying more resistance, the charging time of your capacitor will be less. If you are applying, less resistance, the charging time of your capacitor will be less. Okay, so this is your capacitor, which can be controlled by variable resistance. Uh, Now, depends upon the voltage across the capacitor. When sufficient amount of gate current will flow in the circuit, the SCR starts to conduct. You can see in the diagram that it is, when it is charged at its peak, the diode will come into the forward biasing, and the current will start to flow through this diode, and it will supply or inject the electrons through the gate into the SCR. So in the positive half cycle, the capacitor is charged. Sorry. So in the negative half cycle, the capacitor C is charged up to the negative peak value through the diode D2. When capacitor is your when we apply negative half cycle, then this terminal will be negative and this terminal will be positive. Uh, So capacitor will be charged. Capacitor will be charged through this diode, because this terminal will be negative and this terminal will be positive, and it will charge at a peak of your negative voltage of your supply. So the variable register R control the charging time of the capacitor. For positive half cycle, the diode D1, the capacitor is charging through diode D1. For negative half cycle, the capacitor is charging through your diode D2. So in the negative half cycle, the capacitor C is charged up to the negative peak value through the diode D2. So diode D1 is used to prevent the reverse breakdown of the gate cathode junction in the negative half cycle. Next is your pulse gate triggering. So in R or RC triggering, you can see that in R triggering circuit, you were using only one diode and there were no capacitor, and because it will conduct only for positive half cycle for a diode. That's why the limit of triggering was only from 0 to 90 degree. But in RC circuit, you are using one capacitor with your resistance, and the for positive half cycle, the capacitor is charging through your diode D1. For negative half cycle, the capacitor is charging through diode D2. So the range of your angle alpha can be increased. Now let's come to your pulse gate triggering. So in this method, the gate drive consists of a single pulse appearing periodically, a sequence of high frequency pulses. This is known as carrier frequency gating, and a pulse transformer is used for isolation. And the main advantages is that there is no need of applying continuous signals, so the gate losses are reduced. Next is your what are the advantages of pulse train triggering. So low gate dissipation at higher gate current, small gate isolating pulse transformer, low dissipation in reverse bias condition is possible. So simple trigger circuit are possible in some cases. When the first trigger pulse fades to trigger the SCR, the following pulses can be succeed in latching SCR. So this important while triggering inductive circuits and circuit having back EMF. So these are the advantages of pulse train triggering, that a train of pulses you are applying continuous to trigger the SCR. So it has low gate dissipation, and because the current rate which you are injecting through the gate is very high, so low dissipation is basically reverse bias condition is possible. So simple trigger circuit are possible in some cases. And the main advantage of this, when you are applying a train of a number of pulses, if one pulse is failed to trigger the SCR, then another pulse will trigger your SCR. These are few parameters by which you can compare your, R and RC and UJT triggering. The UJT triggering we will discuss in our next lecture. So in this lecture, you can compare R triggering and RC triggering. You can see that one is your firing angle. So as you know that you were using only one diode and one variable resistor in your R triggering, and the diode was conducting only for your positive half cycle, and another half cycle which was negative, the diode was blocking the voltage. So the maximum triggering which can be applied, the maximum firing angle which can be applied in R triggering only limited to 90 degree. But in RC triggering, you were using two diodes and one capacitor. One diode was conducting for positive half cycle, and for another half cycle diode D2 was conducting. When diode D1 was conducting for your positive half cycle, the capacitor was charging. For another half cycle, the capacitor was charging through your negative voltage. So the firing angle range is increased from 90 degree to 180 degree. So this is the benefit of your RC triggering, that you can change the firing angle from 0 to 180 degree. Means the range of firing angle is more than your R triggering in RC triggering. Next is your cost. As you know, the semiconductor devices or the components you were using in RC triggering is more than your R triggering, that it will affect the cost of your triggering circuit of your SCR. So R triggering has less cost as compared to your RC triggering. Now there are type of triggering. One is your AC gate triggering, and another one is your also AC gate triggering. As you know, in as you have seen that in the diagram of your R triggering and RC triggering, the applied voltage was your AC. That's why this is your R triggering and RC triggering. Both is your AC gate triggering. And you know what was your disadvantages of DC triggering? We have already discussed. Now, uh, uh, next parameter, that is it able to synchronization with your AC mains? Yes. Is it able to synchronization with your AC mains? R and RC triggering both are, able to synchronize your R and RC triggering, both are able to synchronize your AC main. Next is your isolation between control and power circuit. So it is not provided in both triggering R and RC triggering. Next is your firing of multiple SCR is not possible in R and RC triggering. So now we have discussed different type of triggering. Now I want to summarize this lecture, that in this lecture we have discussed the different methods of SCR triggering, in which we discussed about your temperature triggering, dV by dt triggering, DC triggering, and your forward voltage triggering. As your name indicate, that the forward voltage triggering, that you can trigger the SCR by applying forward voltage, which is higher than your forward breakover voltage. But it has some disadvantage, that it if you apply higher voltage, that it can damage your SCR. Next was your temperature triggering, in which you were increasing the temperature of SCR. This is also harmful. It is not widely used. And another one was your dV by dt triggering, in which you were varying the voltage with respect to time. So that was your dV by dt triggering. Then you were using your DC triggering and AC triggering. So DC triggering also have some disadvantages. But in AC triggering, it is very useful. And you can see in AC triggering you required a extra transformer, which because this triggering step down supply of main supply, which is your AC voltage. So what is your transformer is doing? Your transformer is doing step down the voltage, and that step down voltage is applied to the triggering cell. So further, AC triggering was divided into two parts. One is your R triggering and another one was your RC triggering. And we have already seen the circuit diagram of your R and RC triggering. And next was your pulse triggering. In pulse triggering, that you were applying a train of pulses. So what were the main advantage of pulse triggering? That if first pulse is failed to trigger the SCR, then the pulse which is coming after that pulse, or second pulse or third pulse, it may be a fourth pulse, it will be able to trigger the SCR. So by AC triggering, or your pulse triggering, you are basically injecting the electrons into the gate terminal through the current. Because what is current? Current is the flow of electrons. So you were injecting the electrons. So, and we have compared these two triggerings to each other. So this is all about your triggering methods of SCR. Now let's come to the some questions, some few questions which is based on this lecture and some basics of SCR. So let's see that these are MCQs. Question number one. If the current of an SCR increases, the forward breakdown voltage will, if you increases the SCR current, okay? If you increases the SCR current, obviously the forward breakdown voltage will be reduced. And we have already seen the characteristic of the SCR. When you increasing the gate current, the forward voltage was reducing. Okay. So when you increases the SCR gate current, SCR current or you know current of an SCR, the forward breakdown voltage will be decreases. The second question is, if the gate current of an SCR is increased, the forward breakdown voltage will, if the gate current of an SCR is increased, the forward breakdown voltage will not be affected. So if you are forward breakdown voltage will not be affected by increasing the gate current. Third is your after firing an SCR, the gate pulse is removed. The current in the SCR will remain the same because you know once SCR is triggered, it will remain in the on state after removing the gate pulse because the structure of SCR is like this. If you once it is triggered, then it will remain in the on state until and unless you turn off the SCR by forcing this. So after firing an SCR, the gate pulse is removed. The current in the SCR will remain the same, immediately fall to zero, rise up, rise a little, and then fall to zero. So it will remain the same. The fourth question is that an SCR conducts an appreciable current when the gate is negative and a node is positive. An SCR conducts an appreciable current when the gate is negative and the a node is positive with respect to the cathode. So a gate is negative and the anode is positive with respect to the cathode. Anode and the gate are both negative with respect to the cathode. Anode and the gate are both positive with respect to the cathode. And anode is negative and the gate is positive with respect to the cathode. So anode will remain positive with respect to the cathode and gate, as we know that we apply positive gate pulse to the gate terminal. So the anode and the gate are both positive with respect to the cathode. Now, pulse gate triggering is achieved by means an LC circuit, a UJT relaxation oscillator circuit, a diatriac circuit, a rheostat arrangement. So the pulse gate triggering is always achieved by using a UJT, that is your unijunction transistor, which we use UJT relaxation oscillator circuit. Okay, so B is the right answer for that. Now the another question is RC triggering is preferred over resistance triggering because RC triggering is preferred over resistance triggering because it provides a large value of triggering angle, provides accurate triggering, causes quick triggering, protects the device from getting damaged. As you know, the advantage of RC triggering was that the angle is increased from 90 degree to 180 degree as compared to R triggering. So it provides a large value of the triggering angle. Next question is that the duration of a pulse in a pulse triggering system for SCRs should be at least the duration of the pulse in triggering at least 60 microsecond, 40 microsecond, 20 microsecond and 10 microsecond. So minimum time which is required for this pulse, it must be a 20 microsecond. Maximum it may be your 60 or 80 microsecond, but minimum time you will require that is your 20 microsecond. For thyristor, pulse triggering is preferred over DC triggering because the gate dissipation power is low, the pulse system is simpler, the triggering signal is required for a short duration, and all of the above. So A is the right answer for that. The gate dissipation is low. A snubber circuit is used in the SCR control circuit to overcome the effect of a transient in the DC supply, corona electromagnetism, heating caused by the high voltage AC supply. So snubber circuit basically, protecting circuit of the SCR. So transients in the DC supply, A snubber circuit is used in the SCR control circuit to overcome the effect of transients in the DC supply, which can damage your SCR. So, a snubber circuit is a protecting device which is used for SCR. Next is your the function of a snubber circuit connected across an SCR is to suppress dV by dt, increase dV by dt or decreases dV by dt and keep transient voltage at a constant value. So it will always keep your, so it will always suppress dV by dt. So the voltage which is changing with the time, it can damage your circuit. So its number circuit is used to protect the SCR, which always suppress the value of dV by dt. So this is all about your triggering. Now, I want to summarize this lecture that in this lecture we discussed about that SCR is a four layer and three terminal device. It has three terminal anode, cathode and gate terminal. And it has three junctions, junction J1, J2 and J3. When your anode is positive with respect to your cathode, the junction J1 and J3 will be in your forward biasing, and J3 terminal will be in your reverse biasing. Okay, and the another is uh, the different methods by which you can turn on the SCR. So we discussed about the different triggering methods, which was your temperature triggering, your forward biasing, your forward voltage triggering, dV by dt triggering, and your laser triggering, light triggering, you can see. So after that we discussed about your DC triggering and AC triggering. In DC triggering, the DC voltage is applied for the triggering method, which was not very useful. So we use AC triggering, and AC triggering can be divided into two parts. One was your R triggering and another one is your RC triggering. So we have already compared R and RC triggering because of the circuit which you are using. The triggering angle or the delay angle is 0 to 90 degree in your R triggering, and in RC triggering it was your 90 degree to 0 to 180 degree. So we have already compared the different triggerings, which is over here. So this is all about the different methods of your triggering, and we have already discussed that pulse gate triggering also. So by using pulse, the main advantage of pulse triggering was that if first trigger pulses fails to uh, trigger the SCR, then the following pulses can succeed in latching SCR. And what is latching and holding current, we have already discussed in our previous lecture. So to turn on the SCR, the value of current must be high to the your latching current. Then your thyristor will be turned on. So this is all about your different kind of triggerings.